Okay, creating a spindle. Let's start with a horizontal line. So I'll click my start point, and I'll make sure that my ortho is turned on. Let's go across a distance of 100. Next, I'll copy this line, select the base point, and the distances I will use is 12 divided by 2 and 20 divided by 2. I'll create a vertical line from this end point to this one, and I'll do the same on the other end. So use the offset command, give it a distance of 17, and let's offset both of those vertical lines inward. Trim. And I'll just trim off these corners. This inside line. And here. It looks like I did forget one, which is here. Okay. So the next part is that I do have a grease diameter running through here for the grease filling to go through. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and offset and create that circle located here. I'll use the offset command, and if you try to use the offset distance of 5.1 divided by 2, AutoCAD gives you an error. So what I'm going to do is kind of manipulate that a little bit. So I'll use 51 divided by 20, and I'm just moving the decimal place on the numerator and the denominator, and that will allow me to offset that line that correct distance. Let's go ahead and create a line from this midpoint down to this midpoint. Next, I'll trim off this edge. And here, and trim it here. So now that will give me my diameter that I need when I revolve this, but I also have another diameter located here, right at the center of my spindle. So what I'm going to do is I will create a vertical construction line, and I'll put it right through the end point there. I'll go back to the offset command, and it still should remember your same distance. So the 2.55 is correct. I'll just hit the enter button. I'll offset this line to the right. Okay, so now what I need to do is I'm going to create a rectangle right along where these two intersections are. So let's use rectangle, and let's start with this midpoint or intersection, and then we'll go down to this midpoint or intersection. Go ahead and delete your two vertical construction lines, and now you have everything done as far as the drafting part. Let's go ahead and put the chamfers on the end. So I'll use the chamfer command. My distance will be 2, and then my second distance is also 2. And I do have more than one, so choose the multiple option. And let's go ahead and put those chamfers on each end. I will highlight everything, and then I will choose join. Now I'm going to get one that's converted and one object that's discarded, and that's going to be the rectangle that we created. Let's use the revolve command. I'll put it in the isometric. Choose revolve. I'll select this object first, and I'll choose this endpoint, and I can either choose to go to the midpoint here or the other endpoint. I'll just choose this midpoint and select enter when I have it completed. So now you can see that you do have that circle or that hole going through it. If I switch it over to shades of gray, you can take a look and see that. I'll go back to the wireframe, use revolve, select my rectangle, And just to show you which 2 points I'm picking, I'm going to rotate back to the top view. And I want to pick 2 points that are going right through the middle, not the 2 on this side. So I'm going to select this endpoint. And I can go to this midpoint or this endpoint at the bottom. I'll choose the midpoint and then tell it 360 degrees. Okay. Now the next thing I didn't notice is that this does have a distance of 14 on it. So right now the distance that it is going is 10. So I'm just going to stretch this out another 4. So I'll choose the press pull option. I'll select that face. And I'm going to pull it down a distance of 4. Choose subtract. Select the object you want to keep first, and then select the cylinder that you just created. Now you can see that I do have that little cutaway that's going through it. And if you look at this in an X-ray view, you can kind of see a little bit more of what's happening. Okay, I'll put this back in isometric and make it go back to wireframe. And I'll save this one as my spindle.